Hi guys, in this quick video I'm going to be answering a video question from Ravana. Hopefully I've pronounced your name correctly there, Ravana, and it sounds like you are from the United States. So first of all, a massive big congratulations for sending in your video question, Ravana. Most goalkeepers won't do that, okay? A lot of goalkeepers, especially the younger goalkeepers, they think it's being weak or to ask questions, and it's actually the opposite. You're very brave to ask your goalkeeping questions, because if you don't ask your questions and you don't get the answers, you're never going to develop as a goalkeeper. So again, the first thing I want to say to yourself, Ravana, is a massive congratulations for being brave enough to basically ask your questions, and obviously we're certainly here to help. Also as well, as you get involved obviously with the 30-day challenge with J4Keepers, so obviously to help you become bulletproof and obviously super confident as a goalkeeper, what I teach about in this, the answers I'm going to give you in this quick video, please make sure when you go through all the exercises, obviously as you go through the 30-day challenge, obviously to get you bulletproof and super confident as a goalkeeper, please make sure that you go over and over in your mind obviously what I'm about to speak about. Again, throughout the 30-day challenge, you'll hear me comment a lot about visualization. And basically visualization is just like daydreaming, but on steroids, okay? And it's super easy to do. And a lot of people, first of all, don't understand visualization, but also for the people that have heard about visualization, they don't do it because they think it's like taboo or etc. But I'll guarantee any top professional goalkeeper will be using the art of visualization. It's super important. And again, but as the 30-day challenge goes on, obviously I won't go into the visualization now. I'll explain it as you go through the 30-day challenge, if that makes sense. Okay, so the two main questions that you had, first of all, is dealing with high balls, and also as well, trying to deal with a coach who is basically obviously knocking your confidence or basically having a go at you because you make the smallest of errors. Okay, but first of all, let me deal with obviously dealing with the problems with high balls. Okay, and as a goalkeeper, even obviously it looks as if you're about 14-15 years of age. I might apologise if I'm wrong, but as a young goalkeeper, coming for high balls, it can be scary. I mean, even as a professional goalkeeper, when I played, coming for high balls, you were sometimes scared. It's only natural to be scared, because if you're jumping up as a goalkeeper and your arms are at full length, obviously, especially if you've not got the defenders to block the incoming opposing players, if you get hit in the sides, even though that you're prepared for it, and even though that the more you practice, the less it hurts, it still can be a bit off-putting. So first of all, please don't feel concerned, or don't feel as if you're weak because you're concerned about going for high balls. Okay, I promise you, even adult professional goalkeepers are sometimes a bit wary and a bit scared when they go for a high ball, especially when you've got centre forwards come steaming in. Okay, because sometimes, as I say, sometimes if you can get your knee up and protect yourself, it's not too bad when the centre forward is coming towards you. But if they're coming from the sides, it can be a bit off-putting. Okay, and it does take a bit of practice. Okay, so what I would advise you to do, and you'll hear me go on a lot about this, as I say, in the 30-day challenge, is first of all, first of all, I'm going to go back one. Now, what you said about your coach might not be able to do this because it sounds like your coach does not understand goalkeeping, even though he or she will say they do. Unless they've played in goal for a considerable amount of time, they do not understand goalkeeping. And please feel free to share this video with them if you want to. And again, I'm certainly not knocking your coach, okay? But again, a lot of coaches, as I say, they moan at goalkeepers just because they don't understand. They just see a ball going in the net, because they don't understand, they just go, oh, it's the goalkeeper's fault. Okay, however, I'll come to your coach in a moment, but the first thing as well, when you're coming for crosses, really your coach should be teaching your defenders how to block the players coming in, okay, the opposing players coming in. So what happens then as a goalkeeper, if you know that your teammates are going to be blocking obviously the opposing players, that gives goalkeepers an air of confidence, thinking, you know what, I've got some protection around me here. Now if you've not got that protection, okay, and I've been in games even as an adult goalkeeper, especially when I played semi-professional, when the players, they didn't block the opposing players. And obviously, again, it's off-putting when you're coming out for a cross, knowing that you could have 2 or 3 people clattering into you because you're not getting the protection that you should be getting. But however, go and speak to your goalkeeping coach if you can, or get your parents to speak to them, or ideally if you've got a goalkeeping coach. And also as well, depends, a lot of goalkeeping coaches don't understand this as well, believe it or not. Okay, but fingers crossed your goalkeeping coach does, if you have got a goalkeeping coach, and they need to speak to the coach to say, hey, look, bit concerned coming out for crosses. Look, can you please make sure that when a cross comes over, that obviously the defenders, your teammates are blocking off the runs so that they're not just clattering into you. So that should be the job first of all of your coach. Okay, I'm guessing your coach probably won't know that. Hopefully your goalkeeping coach will. If your goalkeeping coach doesn't understand it, or if you or your parents have a word to the goalkeeping coach and you get a blank look back, or nothing happens, obviously, nothing happens in terms of the coach getting the defenders to protect you, the chances are your goalkeeping coach doesn't want to tell you that they don't know, and that's why nothing's being done. Show them this video. Again, I'm not trying to offend any goalkeeping coach here, by the way, trying to help. But the first thing is your coach and your management, they should be basically educating your defence and your teammates to protect you from the opposing players running in and clattering you. So that's maybe one of the reasons why you're obviously feeling underconfident, because you probably might realise this yourself. Okay, it's your coach's job to educate your teammates to block the runners coming in and clattering you. And again, it doesn't matter, even if you were an adult goalkeeper playing professionally and you were 6'5" and 500 pounds, solid muscle, doesn't matter how big and strong you are as a goalkeeper. If you've got opponents running in and clattering into you and you've got no protection, that is going to affect anyone's confidence. It would affect mine as well. Okay, yeah. And what happens is, as you get older as a goalkeeper, you'll be able to basically say to your goalkeeper, your defenders, hey, listen, you need to protect me. Okay, yeah. So again, I know I'm waffling on a bit here, okay, but it's super important. So if yourself, ideally your parents, okay, yeah, or your goalkeeping coach needs to go to the coach and management and say, hey, listen, you need to educate your, first of all, they need to educate themselves, then they need to educate their defenders to make sure that when you come for the cross, as I say, your defenders are blocking the runners. And I promise you that will do your confidence. Again, as I say, just imagine that you're coming for the cross and that your teammates are doing everything in their power to stop those runners just running into you. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to do. Second thing you need to do as well, I know it sounds obvious, okay, yeah, but try and get as much practice in as you can, okay. So first of all, again, just have, family, friends, ideally a goalkeeping coach, basically throwing high balls into the box. And first of all, you need to have the right technique. And again, as I say, as a goalkeeper, if you know that you can come for a cross and get your knee high, okay, because this is what we teach our students. We get our knees high. We teach all our students to come out with pace, to obviously jump up with pace and get their knee as high as possible. Because I promise you, once you hit a centre forward once, 99.9% of them will not come back, okay, because it's not nice getting kneed. And I'm not saying do it nastily, you're only protecting yourself. If they run into you, or if your momentum takes you forward and your knee goes into their ribs, okay, into their back, etc., hey, that's just technique, okay, that's not your fault. To say and also you're entitled to protect yourself. Okay, so again, the second thing, obviously the first one, speak to the coach. Second thing as well, try and get your goalkeeping coach to teach you the right techniques when you're coming for the cross, i.e. getting your knee up. Again, that will do you wonders as well, your confidence wonders, because if you coming out and protecting yourself, you'll have more confidence coming out knowing that, as I say, you can protect yourself. Because again, it sounds like you're not getting the right goalkeeping advice here, because if your goalkeeping coach is not teaching you to not only come for the cross, but come for the cross with the right technique to protect yourself, they need to do their job as well, okay, yeah. So as I say, so again, have a word to your goalkeeping coach. Please show them this video if it helps. So again, the second thing you need to do is get your technique right, because that will really help. Because imagine if you're in a game situation and you've got your technique right, you can protect yourself, plus your defenders are also protecting you, your confidence is going to be sky high. Sounds like at the moment, okay, yeah, that you're not getting the protection from your teammates, and maybe your goalkeeping coach is not teaching you the right techniques, if that makes sense. The third thing you need to do as well, I know it sounds obvious, going back to what I was going to say, is practice, okay, yeah. So get your goalkeeping coach to basically throw balls in the air and teach you the right way to come for a cross at the highest point, but also with pace and momentum, because if you come out with pace and momentum and you hit a centre forward, I promise you, it feels great, okay? I'm not saying, obviously, we do it deliberate, to be fair, okay, yeah. And again, as I say, sometimes you do with some centre forwards, you've got to clatter them, to be honest with you, to make a statement to say, hey, listen, you come near me, you are going to get hurt, okay, yeah. But that's just part of football. If they can't, and I promise you, if you do that with centre forwards, 99.9% of them, you'll never see them again. In a game situation, you'll just shout keepers and they'll disappear, okay. I promise you that will happen. Okay, so again, I'd say the third thing is practice your techniques. Okay, so once you've got your technique right, then what your coaches need to do with yourself, they need to then bring players in. Okay, so players then, as I say, they should. So as you're coming for the cross, your teammates should be helping you. So as you're coming for the cross, they should be jumping to head the ball. To start off with, okay, actually even like in training, they never go in full pelt. So your goalkeeping coach or coach, put my teeth back in, they should be throwing the ball up, they should be helping you obviously practice your techniques in training. So you should have a winger crossing the ball in, coming for your crosses, then you should have a teammate in training basically jumping alongside you, again, not into you, it's not rough, you're not there to hurt each other, okay, yeah, as I say. But what happens is, as you're jumping and your teammate is jumping with you or slightly into you, what that does is that helps you in training to get used to opponents jumping into you. Okay, so again, a stress. You don't obviously, and obviously your coach, I'm sure they shouldn't do this, but your coach and your goalkeeping coach, they shouldn't be having your teammates jumping in with the elbows up. It should just be jumping in, slightly leaning in, and again, so you're both not, you're not going full pelt, but it's just a nice little tempo. And what that does, that gets you into the habits, that gets you used to people. So that gets you used to coming for crosses with people coming into you, okay, or players obviously jumping against you, if that makes sense. And I promise you, if your coach protects you, or teaches the defenders to protect you, you get the correct technique, okay, so you can protect yourself, and you practice with people in training, your teammates just slightly jumping into you, that gets you used to obviously, basically coming for a cross with people around you. And the more you practice, I promise you, just give it a few weeks, maybe say 10 to 12 weeks, you'll start to see an improvements. You'll start, and listen, there's going to be some times as well when you're coming for crosses, there's going to be that bit, especially when you're coming out on the side and it's difficult to protect yourself. There's going to be a bit of apprehension, but again, that's where the defenders come in, okay? And that's where your defenders should be helping you, and it sounds like they're not, okay? So if you do those three things, educate your coach, okay, or show them this video, and I'll educate them. Get your goalkeeping coach to teach you the correct technique, okay, yeah? And mostly you've got to practice as well, but you've got to practice with somebody jumping into you, so you get used to obviously having that contact, so you're not going into a game situation and being shocked when it's happening, because you get used to it in training. It just becomes second nature. Then what you need to do is visualize, okay, yeah, visualize yourself, okay, in training or in a game situation, okay, yeah, and I promise you this will work big time. When you go through the 30-day challenge, you'll understand what this means in more detail. But literally, you go through every scenario in your head. You coming for perfect catches, okay, yeah. So you come for, it's a corner, for example. You visualize it coming in from, the left-hand side. You visualize it swinging in, and you visualize yourself coming out and punching the ball or catching the ball and knocking everybody out the way, shouting keepers. Visualize the ball curling away from you. Again, you coming out and catching the ball or punching it away with force. And again, if you're practicing, if you're physically practicing with your coach and obviously with your teammates, and then you're also visualizing you doing everything perfect, I promise you it works. I know it sounds like magic, okay, yeah, but it works, okay, because what you're doing by visualization, and again, I explain more in the 30-day challenge, literally you're going through every scenario in your head time and time and time again, and you're not surprised then in a game situation when something happens, because I promise you, I guarantee something will happen in a game situation that you literally visualized a few days before, and literally it's in a millisecond. Okay, your mind does not know the difference between something that happened for real or something that you visualize. Okay, now it sounds crazy, okay, but that's basically proven. So when something happens in a game situation in a millisecond, your mind goes, oh, this has happened before, and they're ready for it. Even though you've visualized it, you've not done it in reality, your mind does not know the difference. Okay, so it's super important that you visualize yourself coming for every cross. You've got to visualize yourself, as I say, being big and strong, shouting keepers at the top of your voice, or even visualize all the attackers moving away from you, visualize your defenders helping you, and I promise you, if you do that, that will really help. Okay, also the coach. Obviously, you said the coach obviously is for any like silly mistake, the coach is having a go at you. That's not your fault, okay? That's down to poor coaching, okay? And sadly, as I say, there's still a few coaches with egos out there. Thankfully, because of social media, there's less and less of these egotistical coaches. When I first started out, dear me, I was arguing every other day with egotistical coaches on behalf of the J4K students, because in my opinion, those guys should not be anywhere near a soccer field, okay? But sadly, they get out there. But also, thankfully, there's less and less of them now, because as I say, parents are now getting educated, because at one time, parents didn't really understand. They thought it was the norm, but now thanks to social media, they're realising, hold on a minute, a coach, as I say, shouting encouragement and instructions, not a problem. Being abusive, okay, yeah, and knocking young goalkeepers' confidence or even outfield confidence, that's a massive no-no. So if you're an egotistical coach, stop it right now, okay? Yeah, just because you're failing in life somewhere, don't live your life through your young players, okay? Just get a backbone. Okay, so as I say, so basically it's super important, okay, because what happens is for them, I'll guarantee if your coach has never played in goal before, he or she will have no idea about goalkeeping. I'll guarantee that. They won't admit to that. They'll say, hey, I've done my coaching badge, my goalkeeping coaching badge. That doesn't mean anything, okay? Seriously, okay? Yeah. So again, the first thing you've got to realise is that when they're shouting stuff at you, if you've done something, again, I've seen it many, many times, and I've helped so many J4K students where basically the coach doesn't understand goalkeeping, and every goal that goes in, even though it's not the goalkeeper's fault, the coach is basically blaming the goalkeeper. And what happens then? That affects that would even affect an adult goalkeeper. If someone is always having, unless you obviously you understand goalkeeping, and even as an adult goalkeeper, even if you don't understand goalkeeping 100%, or especially if you're a younger goalkeeper and you're still learning the game, when sometimes an adult coach is shouting at you, you think that they're always right. And most part they're not, okay, yeah. But what that does, that affects the confidence of a young goalkeeper, because they think, oh, it's an adult, they must know what they're talking about. Okay, so the first thing you've got to realise as well, as I say, and again, I'm not teaching you to be disrespectful to your coach, okay? I'm just teaching you to start having your own mindset here. As I say, and you've got to realise if they've not played in goal before, and they're shouting, obviously, what I'm trying to say, everything that they shout at you is not necessarily the truth. You could let a goal in, which is completely not your fault. And if they're blaming you, that's not your problem. That's not your fault. That's your coach's lack of education, okay? And again, as I said, I've seen it so many times where so many talented goalkeepers lose their confidence because a coach or a manager who knows nothing about goalkeeping blames them for everything, but the goalkeeper believes the coach, if that makes sense, because they're an adult. So what I'm saying to you is, don't believe everything they say, okay? So again, if you've got a parent or hopefully a goalkeeping coach, at the end of the game, just say, hey, listen. Or if someone's videoing it, hopefully you've got a goalkeeping coach, you say, coach, was that really my fault, okay? And they'll go, but not really, to be honest with you. So you need to speak to other people, okay, if that makes sense, especially with you obviously being a young goalkeeper at the moment. Hopefully, fingers crossed, you've got a good goalkeeping coach, but you can speak to your coach at the end of each game and say, listen, I just got blamed there for 2 goals. Were they my fault? And your goalkeeper coach might go, listen, your angle wasn't the best, or they might say, listen, no, take no notice of the coach. And that way, then at least then you've got someone who does know what they're talking about saying, listen, just take no notice. But as I say, it's super, so again, so as a coach, so if the coach is obviously being nasty, that's not fault. That's not your fault. That's just a coach being nasty, as I say. But you've got to remember, most coaches don't understand goalkeeping, basically goalkeepers. So I know it's difficult to do this, but try not to get too upset. As I say, you know, when your coach is shouting at you all the time, and hopefully you've got some adults there as well, you know, or hopefully you've got a goalkeeping coach with a backbone, okay? Because if it was me, and I don't care who my coach is, okay, yeah, if my coach is shouting at my goalkeeper and they're shouting nonsense, as the goalkeeping coach and as an adult, I'd be going up to them and saying, hey, listen, look, what you're saying there is wrong, you know what I mean, as I say, you know, or just lay off a bit. So fingers crossed, hopefully, again, please show this video to your goalkeeping coach, okay, because they should be supporting you, okay. And also as well, you know, again, depends on how nasty the coach is as well. If they've just been downright nasty, maybe your parents should go over to them as well and say, hey, listen, look, you know, coach, we know that you want to shout instructions, but what you're doing is you're affecting our daughter's confidence here. So listen, is there a better way that, you know, can you do it a nicer way? Can you be a bit more, you know, bit more politer, you know, etc. Again, as I say, you know, because by the age, obviously, because seeing you in the video, you can see obviously that you're not an old goalkeeper. You know, as I say, you know, it's like, and some coaches, unfortunately, they speak to young players like the adults, and they shouldn't be doing that, full stop. So again, it's not your fault. That's what I'm trying to say. If your coach can't speak properly, or your coach is not educated with goalkeeping, try not to take it to heart, as I say, because they don't know what they're talking about. So it's easy for them just to blame the goalkeeper because they don't know what they're talking about, if that makes sense. But if the coach is it has got a big ego, and he or she is saying some nasty things, that's where the adults, the parents, or the goalkeeping coach have got to step in and say, listen, look, enough's enough now. As I say, we don't mind, obviously, you know, if it, you know, even if a mistake, even if you make a blatant mistake, an adult shouldn't be shouting and screaming at you. They should do it in a nice way. They should be teaching you, obviously, you know, again, listen, we all make mistakes. We've got to learn from our mistakes. We've got to be told about our mistakes, okay? But there's a right and a wrong way as a coach and an adult to tell a younger player, obviously, what they should do, if that makes sense, okay? So if the coach is not that type of person, they've got a big ego, being nasty, again, an adult needs to step in and say, listen, enough's enough now. And if the coach continues, honestly, just go and find another club. I promise you, there's more clubs looking for goalkeepers than goalkeepers looking for clubs. So if your coach is sadly one of those people that no matter what you say, they never listen, okay, because they're always right, the best thing to do is go away from them and go and find a club and a coach that speaks to their players respectfully, if that makes sense. And again, listen, I'm not saying that if you make a mistake that the coach can't tell you, okay, because that's not good for you. Okay, yeah, as a goalkeeper, if you do make mistakes, you want your coach to tell you, hey, you've made a mistake, okay, yeah, but hey, but this is how we put it right. Like I say, there's a right and wrong way to obviously to tell a young goalkeeper or even an outfield player how they've made the mistake. So I hope that helps, okay? If you've got any more questions, please drop me an email or do me another video, and I'll help you as best I can. But again, just make sure when you follow the videos over the 30-day challenge, I say just keep remembering the art of visualization, because you'll hear me go on about visualization a lot because it's that important, okay? And as I say, it'll really help you to obviously improve as a goalkeeper. And again, yeah, hope that helps. If there's anything that I never mentioned, please please drop me a message and another video, and I'll certainly help. Also, if you're watching this video on social media and there's something that you think I missed, please put your comments below. Again, as I say, if we can all help each other, that's what we're here for. So I hope that helps. All the best, and I look forward to seeing you in the next videos on the J4K 30-day challenge. Take care.